Look guys, I'm here again with more Corner Murphy trash that's just gonna hurt gun owners. Ugh. Even mentioning that name, it's like salt in the wound. You remember last year, the largest gun control legislation in decades was rushed through by a group of politicians that only wanted the appearance of doing something. And then after all that, all these compromises were hijacked by the Biden administration to continue passing new gun control regulations through executive orders. GOA warned Congress against delaying 18 to 20-year-olds' gun rights. GOA warned Congress about the red flag law bribery programs. And GOA even warned Congress that changing the definition of firearms dealer would lead to a universal background checks, which is exactly what we're going to break down today. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. Before we get into the details, be sure to like and comment so we can fight against YouTube's algorithm and spread this important knowledge as far as possible. Recently, the Biden administration put out an executive order that called for more background checks for anyone who makes a profit on selling a gun. Now it's crazy, because we know exactly how bad the NICS system is, with how often it goes down and how it falsely denies people all of the time. But Biden wants to bring this country as close to universal background checks as possible without additional legislation. Mumbling Joe Biden thinks that he should be able to do whatever he wants. He thinks he's better than the Constitution and the checks and balances that our founding fathers elevated. Well, interestingly, the New York Times seems to know more about this rule change than anyone else. So much so, in fact, that they've leaked details about the rule to the public. According to the New York Times, ATF plans to implement the rule via an Administrative Procedures Act rulemaking process, the exact same process that was used to ban pistol braces. GOA members, I need you to stand by. We'll need all the help we can get during the notice and comment period for this rule change. By the way, GOA members made up 30% of all comments under the pistol brace rule and the frame and receiver rule. Because of the massive effort of all GOA members, the ATF had to back off most of the worst points of both rules, which also are currently halted in the courts by GOA-backed lawsuits. So hats off to all of you members out there. We couldn't have done this without you. Okay, now back to the current ATF overreach. Apparently, the universal background check rule is slated to be released by the end of this year, according to an article by John Crump of AmmoLand News. It's clear that all of the anti-gun groups and congressmen are revving up their propaganda machines in preparation for this new rule. These groups are trying to rebrand private firearm sales as gun seller loopholes or digital loopholes. Doesn't that remind you of terms like assault weapons and the gun show loophole? We all know that these are just made-up terms meant to scare people. Now, their solution to these imaginary problems? Anyone that makes a profit as little as $1 from a gun sale can get up to 5 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines. The simple fact is, many firearms increase in their value over time. Oftentimes, many gun owners unintentionally profit from a firearm sale simply because of timing. Take someone who bought a gun in 2018 during the slump in pricing versus that same person selling their gun in 2021 during a gun shortage. It's likely that that person would be facing jail time had this rule been in effect. Now, why is the Biden administration pushing these background checks? Well, the same reason his ATF is shutting down businesses with their zero tolerance policy, which we're also suing over. It's to expand the existing gun registry, so the government knows where all of our guns are. And once they have all these guns registered, well, registration leads to confiscation.
Да, идите в спортивния и рабочая викиде и принесите ми государственния форму 4473. Жълто явето е картотеки, ние имею полная описания о Русия.
But not to worry. GOA is ready to fight in the courts and in Congress to prevent this new rule from ever seeing daylight. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all of GOA's updates on the latest fights for your rights.